and how he had the crash on Twitter when he went on to announce his candidacy, and he made a big deal about people saying about them banning books. And remember, I said he said we do not ban books. It was taken out of context. Well, this man says he's a liar. And he has proof. He has the receipt. He said not only is he lying, but he has the nerve to start his 2024 campaign off with a lie. With the campaign lie. So that means that this is how he's going to be. We can't do that. We're used to Trump doing that. All right, so let's listen to this guy. This is the Ring of Fire. He's a guy on the left. Okay. But I listen to people on the left and the right. Okay. And people on the far middle, maybe a little truth. I listen to people on the far left and the far right. And I listen to people in the middle. Thank you. So there you try to gather what the truth is. Right. All right.
Here.
Yep. All right.
DeSantis is obviously not off to a good start with his 2024 presidential campaign. And in addition to all of the technical problems that his little Twitter event had on Wednesday evening, he also began his campaign, essentially launched it on a lie. Because during that horrendous launch on Twitter, which most people were focused on the glitches and how stupid it was, he said something that kind of flew under the radar. And that something was that the state of Florida has actually not banned any books. And
now I'm going to be stopping it as we go. Notice he said something that I said yesterday. What? They were focusing on the technical problems and not focusing on what he actually said. So you would think the media and Trump even Biden would have responded and said, this is what he said, and this is actual truth. Okay. But they decided to all talk about the fact that the link didn't work, which is stupid. It's not really the meat of the whole thing.
They were saying that Elon Musk is supposed to be an expert on all types of tech support, and he should have known better.
Right. And the guy who works for him resigned, the tech guy. Wow. He was either gonna get fired or somebody was leaving that company. He was forced to resign. Wendy M says, "Hi, ladies." Hey. Okay. All right.
That all of this media talk about book bans in Florida that's been going on for 2 years now is a hoax. That's the word he used. So it's all a hoax.
Did I say that? Mm-hmm.
So apparently, we've just been living in an alternative reality down here in Florida, and all those books that have actually been banned from our school libraries weren't actually banned, according to Ron DeSantis. And what DeSantis is actually doing is just employing a simple verbal trick, if you will. He's using semantics to create a lie. Because when he says no books have been banned, you could construe that to technically be true if you're an idiot. Because what's happened is that books are not actually banned, but they're banned for certain ages. You know, I saw an idiot.
Now, remember we talked about that. I don't disagree with that. Remember I said that. Okay. That part I don't disagree with. With the age limit. With the age. I don't think every age should have a book of the same caliber. Okay. All right. So on this part, I was listening to him and I was like, okay, so how is that bad on what DeSantis said? Okay. I agree with that. I agree that some books should be taken out of certain schools and put age appropriately. Okay. Okay. All right, here we go.
On Twitter, try to make this argument the other day. He works at News Nation, and he said, well, the books are still, we're just talking about a matter of switching it to a different shelf, he says. Zaid Jilani, by the way, is who said that. Like, they just moved it to a different shelf. Do you know why they moved it to a different shelf, idiot? Because it's banned for 7th graders and below, and it's only available to 8th graders at a pre-K through 8 school. So yes, it is banned for certain students. So you can quibble over what to call it, which is what Ron DeSantis and his little minions out there on social media are doing, but it is a book ban. If certain books are unavailable for certain students based on a policy put in place by the state, then that qualifies as a ban. And that is exactly what's happening here in Florida. Not to mention, as Judd Legum pointed out, a lot of books have actually been pulled off the shelves and are not available to any students because they're still undergoing that lengthy review process.
Now,
Is this at the
that's
library?
the
too?
part. No, it's school.
Just school.
That's the part that I disagree with DeSantis. I don't mind you pulling them off the shelf of kids that I feel may not be age appropriate, but they're going through what he said of process of review, and they're not in anybody's school. Okay. So if you pull Alice Walker's book, or that's a lot of Black authors' books that have been pulled, and they're not in on anybody's shelf, that's what the NAACP is about. Because now you got this lengthy process.
The committee that makes the choices. Are there any Black people on the committee that's involved in making that choice?
Good question.
That's like having a jury for George Floyd and it's all white.
Yeah. Good question. Who are these? Who's reviewing the books to see if they are appropriate
and make that decision? What's the criteria? Who put that together?
That's what's the criteria. Exactly. So I agree with him. If you playing semantics with saying, I don't have any book bans, but yet you taking a book off to be reviewed and it hasn't been on for the whole school year, you are banning the book.
Yeah. You know what? We gotta watch this. Go ahead.
It's a very scary thing. That's why we have to tell our stories. Like yesterday, you and Lenore told a story about your dad and Percy Sledge and the rain. Now, that might not have seemed like a lot that you were telling to you, but that to me was something I will never forget. We have to tell our stories. Black people have always told our stories in song or something. We have got to continue to tell our stories because, like Ben Crump said, he's trying to wipe us off the planet. Yep. It's a very dangerous thing.
Yeah.
And we got to tell our nieces, our nephews, our children, our neighbors, tell the stories that you know. My grandson can tell you about Martin Luther King, George Floyd. I make sure he knows it's important.
How old is your grandson?
Well, he's 15 now, but he knew when he was 7.
Oh, yeah. Impart that knowledge to him. I was saying too, we have to be careful with DeSantis because he's
smart.
The way he words things. He's a lawyer, Harvard graduate.
Yeah, son is always saying he's very smart.
He can word things and get around the question. You can think about a lawyer in the courtroom. Yeah. They can take the law and manipulate the law so the jury is sitting there going, is he guilty or not? We're all unsure. By what is it, the word that they let him out because everybody didn't agree? Reasonable doubt.
Okay.
So a good lawyer, good words, how he speaks. No, we didn't ban books. You did something else, but you want to say the actual question to him, he answered it. So a really wise person, a wise person who is on top of that as far as interviewing, they got to get the details of it and pull it out of him because he's going to be going around the bush and he's going to try to trick people. I don't like that spirit.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I told you he's more dangerous than Trump.
And that's witchcraft, really. That's really witchcraft.
It is.
Manipulating is witchcraft.
It's controlling power.
Craft.
That's what we were
saying. It's not all these spooky spells in a big pot. It's manipulation.
That's what we was if you were on yesterday, I was saying we were telling you because I know we all have our viewpoints on comb over and how we feel about him being in office, the buffoonery and the jokesters and the things that he's done is just not clean. But really, the person you need to be on your knees about, concerned about in prayer is DeSantis. That's the man. We know buffoonery gonna always be with Trump.
What about the guy that was on The View that said Trump is not going to get in? He looked like
Governor
Fred Flintstone Jr.
Which one?
Governor of North Hampshire. I mean
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Fred Flintstone Jr.
Sununu. We talked about him. We talked about him yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I don't know what he's about. But I'd rather deal with him than DeSantis. I really would. He's scary.
Yeah.
DeSantis is a very scary person. I don't know.
Let's keep going.
You said something else?
So until they get approved by the state, they aren't available for anyone, making that a de facto ban. Oh, and let's also not forget the fact that here in the state of Florida, one single parent can launch a complaint against a book, and then that book immediately becomes available for everybody until that lengthy review process is finished.
Now, that's what happened with the speech, the inaugural speech from that Black girl.
Yes.
One parent complained and they snatched it. And that's because of the law he wrote. A parent, it doesn't have to be a lot of parents. A parent can complain, and then it has to go through a process where the board looks at it and says, no, this is fine, or other parents think it's fine, or whatever. And he's saying a lot of stuff is caught up in this lengthy process. So the Black girl speech is gone, and they won't see that for the rest of the school year.
And the girl that read her poetry at the inaugural ball for Biden, they snatched her poetry. Remember that young Black girl?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
That's the one we're talking about. The one parent who complained. That one parent complained about that.
Wow.
One parent.
Yeah.
One parent.
And that's why I was telling Kim, I said, we got to understand numbers. Parents need to get more involved.
Right.
Because there probably are more parents going, ain't nothing wrong with that point.
Right,
Let's all go together.
But it goes through that process. It has to go through, because one person complained. Now the other parents, because they interviewed them and they was like, we don't have a problem with that. So now it has to go through a whole process of other parents saying, I don't mind and I mind. And while it's going through all of that, it's the whole school season left.
Yeah.
And now you don't have anything.
Right.
So
the public should get involved too and write letters.
Yeah. They should.
Email something.
Well, Scooby-Doo says, hello, everyone.
Hey,
Scooby-Doo. She said, not Black people. She said, well, what is the reason for the supposed closing of the Black fraternities and sororities? Is it age appropriate? We got to look that up, Scooby-Doo.
What are you talking
Why
about?
is he trying to close Black sororities and fraternities?
You know, he's not coming at the National
Panhellenic,
is he?
Oh,
he's
coming at Black fraternities.
Any involvement in what a college does. That's like Disneyland.
Yeah.
They have their own world, their own rules.
If he comes, I'm gonna say, if he comes at the National Panhellenic, he gonna be torn down.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you now.
Oh no,
we can't in Florida.
He gonna be torn down.
Well, let's hold on. We're gonna look that up, Scooby, and talk about that on the next show.
Though. That's
John. Hey, John. He says the next thing you know, they will ban educational movies.
Thank you.
Let's finish this guy.
Go ahead.
That review process has been going on this entire school year, which for most districts in Florida actually ends today. And plenty of books haven't even been gotten to yet. So we're on the last day of school, and we still have books that aren't even available because they haven't even been reviewed yet. So yes, there is a book ban. Yes, Ron DeSantis and his friends and allies across the media are lying to you. And I know this because unlike a lot of you a-holes out there, I actually happen to live in Florida. Not only that, I have the pleasure of talking to somebody who serves as an educator in the state of Florida every single day. That would be my wife. And we have gone through the challenges from parents. We have gone through the devastation of possibly facing a lawsuit because one single parent objected to a book that my wife wanted the class to read. Luckily, it all worked out in her favor. But we've been through the hell that is this state of Florida, and I will challenge any single person out there in this country over whether or not Florida has a book ban, because I know they do, because my family has been put through hell because of it. Ring of Fire has fresh content.
But he's talking from experience.
So he's talking from experience. Ring of Fire, he's good. He's a guy that's on the left, but I like him because he's good. I like listening to him because when I do, and the other side too, I do.
Okay.
Because when I listen to these guys talk and I'm hearing what they say, I don't have time to look at the bills and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can tell me, okay, this bill says this, this he lied on this, or they told the truth on this, go look at this bill or go look in this section, and it cuts time for me having to go back and forth. Okay. But I also listen to people on the far right who go after Biden. when he lies.
Okay.
So I like, that's how you
You
stay.
need to be balanced.
You need to be balanced in how you look at all of this, because they're most of them, to me, they all lie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but that I wanted to put that out there because I spent so much time yesterday talking about how DeSantis said there was no book ban. So here's the other side.
And I want to bring back up what you said yesterday about when he made the analogy of the NAACP.
Okay.
I get what he's saying. There are other things that the NAACP probably needs to focus on, but I think you kind of made a comment later about a lot of times they have certain things that they put on their agenda that is what they're trying to make changes to, like processes and criteria. The NAACP can't go and chase the issues in the city with crime and guns and stuff. They can come together and think of ideas and ways, but anything that deals with race, racial direction at race related things, the NAACP targets that right away.
So I'm thinking if what this guy is saying is true, that's why they're after Florida.
Right.
They're asking the questions you said, Wendy.
Thank you.
Who's reviewing?
Yes.
Are there African Americans or gay people on this board that are reviewing that says that this book is appropriate? And what's the criteria? So that's probably it.
I'm trying to figure out what their fear is. I know they say they don't want their kids reminded of what happened. You know, they don't want them feeling guilty. But what is really at the root of what the heck is? What are you afraid of? I don't understand it.
That's a good question.
Well, we could keep talking about what they're afraid of because the GOP